Imagine you have to, like, pack a survival kit for someone who is being dropped right into the middle of modern society. But you cannot pack food, you cannot pack water, and you cannot pack any physical tools. You can only pack sentences.
Oh, wow.
Right. You have to give this person the exact words they need to not just survive, but to actually navigate the bizarre, invisible complexities of being a human being right now.
Yeah.
What makes the cut? Like, what phrases do you prioritize?
I mean, it would essentially be a literal phrase book for human existence. You'd have to anticipate every vulnerability they might face out there.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is you don't even have to imagine it because we actually have the instruction manual.
Yeah.
For today's deep dive, tailored specifically for you, our listener, we got our hands on a really fascinating source document. It is a transcript from a slow English learning program called English Decoded. And specifically, we are looking at day 10 of their 30-day speaking challenge.
Which is a big deal. You know, hitting the 1/3 mark of a language challenge is a really critical milestone. The curriculum has already laid the foundational groundwork, the pleasantries, the alphabet. Now they are dropping the learner into the deep end with a curated list of exactly 99 sentences spread across 9 distinct topics.
Yeah, and the mission for us today isn't just to look at how people learn a language. We want to use this document as a mirror.
Yeah.
By analyzing the precise phrases this program considers absolutely essential for a beginner, we're going to dissect the anatomy of everyday human life. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the sheer physical mechanics and how this program operates.
Right.
Because before we look at what these learners are being told to say, we have to examine the methodology of how they are, like, physically doing it.
Well, the technique driving this entire curriculum is called shadowing. The premise is deceptively simple, really. The hosts of the program speak a sentence clearly, they slow the cadence down, and then the learner is instructed to repeat it out loud.
Out loud, not just in their head.
Right, out loud. But it isn't just about repeating the words. The goal is to perfectly mirror the rhythm, the intonation, and the micropauses.
And the source material is absolutely relentless about this requirement. Like, by day 10, if a learner has been following along, they have practiced close to 1,000 sentences. 1,000.
It's intense.
It really is. The instructors give this highly specific direction. They say, your mouth needs to practice just as much as your ears do. And when I read that, I instantly thought about going to the gym. You would never expect to build physical strength just by, watching an athlete lift weights.
No, of course not.
You can sit on a bench and watch people do bicep curls all afternoon. But until you pick up the dumbbell yourself, the muscle fibers in your own arm remain completely unchanged.
That analogy holds up perfectly under a neurological lens, actually, because language is not purely cognitive. It is deeply, intensely physical. Oh, yeah. When most of us think about learning a language, we picture memorizing vocabulary lists or studying grammar conjugations in a textbook. We treat it like a math problem to be solved in the brain. But speaking is a motor skill. It relies almost entirely on muscle memory and neural pathways.
Wait, I want to pause there because that feels counterintuitive. I always assume that if I know the grammar rule and I know the vocabulary word, my body will just naturally say it. Are you saying I can intellectually know exactly how to say a sentence, but like physically fail to produce it?
Absolutely. Because your mouth has not memorized the necessary choreography. Think about the physical components involved in speech. You are coordinating your diaphragm to push air while simultaneously adjusting your vocal cords, your tongue placement, the shape of your lips, and the hinge of your jaw, all within milliseconds to produce highly specific frequencies.
It's a full-body workout just to ask for a cup of coffee.
Right. And taking that a step further, different languages demand entirely different physical cadences.
How so?
Well, the English language, for instance, is what linguists call stress-timed. The rhythm of the sentence is dictated by the stressed syllables, meaning speakers naturally compress or swallow the unstressed words to maintain the beat. Spanish or Japanese, however, are syllable-timed, where each syllable gets roughly equal time and weight.
Oh, wow. So the rhythm is just completely different.
Exactly. If a learner's mouth is accustomed to the physical pacing of a syllable-timed language, jumping into English feels physically jarring. So when the source document insists that repetition is the only way to make English sound natural, they are talking about overriding years of entrenched muscle memory.
The mouth literally has to learn to dance to a completely different time signature. So reaching nearly 1,000 sentences by day 10 isn't just a vocabulary milestone, it is a massive physical exertion. Which brings us to the actual weights they are lifting, the sentences themselves.
The meat of the lesson.
Exactly. The very first thing this curriculum tackles before finding food or shelter is the curation of the self. Topics 1 and 2 are fashion and clothing, followed immediately by social media.
What's fascinating here is the equivalence the curriculum creates between the physical and the virtual self. Under fashion, you see sentences like, "This shirt really suits you," or "Do these jeans come in a smaller size?" and "Could you recommend a good tailor?" This is traditional identity management. How do I present my physical body to the society around me?
Right. Classic survival phrases for anyone who has to wear clothes in public.
But then the text seamlessly transitions into the digital world. This video went completely viral, and let's go live and answer some questions. The curriculum elevates the management of our digital identity to the exact same level of daily necessity as buying shoes or ironing a shirt.
I have to push back a little on the inclusion of this, though. Like, if I am designing a strict survival kit for a beginner, I understand needing to know how to buy pants that fit. But is knowing how to say, "I just follow you on Instagram," or "Could you tag me in that photo," genuinely an essential foundational need? It feels a bit, I don't know, superficial for a beginner's course.
I get that, but consider the underlying mechanism of what those digital phrases accomplish. In modern society, social media isn't just a billboard, it's the infrastructure for human connection. But more importantly, look at the other sentences included in that specific section. It isn't just about chasing viral fame.
What else is in there?
The source explicitly includes phrases like, "I spend too much time scrolling," and "I turned off my notifications for a while."
Oh, they are teaching them how to articulate digital burnout.
Precisely. Attention is the modern currency, and the curriculum recognizes that protecting your attention is a survival skill. Teaching a learner how to establish digital boundaries, how to vocalize that they are overwhelmed by screens, well, it demonstrates how deeply entwined our online and offline lives have become.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, if you cannot articulate the need to disconnect, you lack agency in the modern world.
That reframes it entirely. It's not about vanity, it's about boundary setting. And speaking of protecting yourself, here's where it gets really interesting. Once the curriculum establishes how to manage your identity, it moves outward into high-stakes practicality. Topics 3, 4, and 7 jump into business meetings, renting an apartment, and at the doctor's office.
These are the arenas where the power dynamics shift, and a misunderstanding carries heavy consequences.
The business section alone is a perfect time capsule of how work has evolved. You have your standard office diplomacy. Let's summarize what we've discussed so far, and I'll follow up with an email after this. But the sentences that truly jumped off the page for me were, "Can everyone hear me clearly?" and "Could you share your screen, please?"
The modern classics.
Right. Remote work has fundamentally altered our foundational language. A screen share request is now just as essential as knowing how to say hello.
It acts as a modern-day microphone check for social presence. But beneath the surface of the office, the Oshment, and the clinic, the unifying theme of these sections is risk mitigation. The curriculum is deliberately equipping the learner with linguistic shields to protect themselves in complex systems where there is an inherent imbalance of power.
That makes a lot of sense. The stakes in these three environments are incredibly real.
Let's analyze the apartment renting topic. The phrases chosen are highly protective. What's included in the monthly rent? How much is the security deposit? The lease is for 12 months. In any unfamiliar culture, securing housing is a point of massive vulnerability.
Definitely.
A lease is a dense, legally binding contract drafted by the party with the capital, the landlord. Teaching the learner to ask about the security deposit is teaching them how to defend their financial boundaries against institutional power.
Wow. And the doctor's office takes that same vulnerability but applies it to your actual biology. The text includes, "Could you describe your symptoms? I'll prescribe some medicine for you, and do I need to come back for a follow-up?" The source document even pauses at the end of the lesson to explicitly note that topics like renting an apartment or visiting a doctor can feel tricky, and they recommend extra repetition for those specific sections.
The instructors understand the sociology of the language they're teaching. Misinterpreting a compliment about a shirt is a mildly embarrassing faux pas. Misinterpreting a landlord about a 12-month lease, or misunderstanding a doctor who says, "Please take this medication twice a day after meals," carries severe, real-world penalties.
Oh, absolutely.
Notice how the language shifts, too. In the business section, the sentences use softening phrases. "Could you share your screen, please?" It's collaborative. But in the medical section, it becomes highly direct and transactional, reflecting the urgency of biological health.
You're learning to aggressively defend your finances and your physical health. It is heavy, stressful stuff. But thankfully, the 99 sentences don't leave the learner in a perpetual state of high anxiety. Once survival, shelter, and health are secured, the curriculum immediately pivots to the things that make life actually worth living.
The fun stuff.
Yes, we move into pets and animals, music and arts, and neighbors and community.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where the curriculum transitions from merely surviving society to actually participating in it. This is the social glue.
It is a profound shift in tone. We go from the tension of security deposits to phrases like, "My dog loves going for walks, this cat is incredibly playful," and "make sure to feed the fish every day," and then right into the arts. "This painting is absolutely stunning," and "this song always lifts my mood."
Because survival alone is an incomplete human experience. We require community and shared joy. Teaching a learner how to express awe over a painting or how to bond over a dog's behavior provides the specific vocabulary needed to build bridges between distinct cultures.
I love that.
Joy might be a universal emotion, but you still need the localized syntax to share it with the person standing next to you.
I completely agree, but I have a major observation here, and I'd love your take on it. The specificity in these joy sections is wild.
What do you mean?
Well, the learners aren't just practicing generic statements like, "I like art," or "I like animals." The transcript specifically includes, "I'm learning how to paint with watercolors," and "What breed is your dog?" That is incredibly specific. Doesn't this curriculum assume the learner is adopting a very particular type of lifestyle?
That points to a fascinating underlying mechanism in language education known as aspirational anchoring.
Aspirational anchoring.
Yes. Whenever we teach a language, we are inevitably teaching a culture. The curriculum designers have to choose a reality to model. By selecting vocabulary centered around taking watercolor classes or inquiring about dog breeds, they are offering a script for a very specific, idealized version of middle-class existence.
Because asking about dog breeds implies a neighborhood where people have the disposable income to buy purebreds and the leisure time to walk them.
Exactly. It implies safety, leisure, and resources. You see this vividly in the neighbors and community section as well. The phrases practiced include, "We're organizing a community event this weekend," and the ultimate classic, "I borrowed some sugar from my neighbor."
The borrowing sugar thing. I read that and immediately pictured a 1990s sitcom. It feels like such a trope. Do people actually still knock on a door to borrow a cup of sugar?
From an anthropological perspective, borrowing sugar isn't really about the baking ingredients. It's a low-stakes social contract. It is a mechanism designed to test trust within a community without risking major resources.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, if I borrow a cup of sugar, I'm establishing a minor debt, which creates a reason for future interaction. It weaves the social fabric. And the curriculum beautifully contrasts this trust building with conflict resolution by including the sentence, "Could you keep the noise down a little?"
Oh man, that is the ultimate test of the social glue right there.
It truly is. How do you maintain community harmony while simultaneously enforcing a personal boundary regarding your own comfort? Navigating that tension is advanced societal maneuvering, and giving the learner the polite, calibrated phrase to execute it is crucial.
It's giving them the exact script for the life they're hoping to build in a new language. And that concept of hope leads perfectly into the final section of Day 10. As the grueling 99-sentence practice concludes, the curriculum completely abandons the present day and looks entirely toward the future. Topic 9 is titled, Goals and Future Plans.
Which is a brilliant structural choice by the designers. It perfectly matches the psychological journey the learner is experiencing at this exact 10-day milestone.
So what does this all mean? Why end a heavy lesson on rent and doctors with future goals? The learners are suddenly shadowing phrases like, "I'm working towards a promotion at work," and "I'd like to start my own business someday." But then the instructors slip in these incredibly meta, almost therapeutic sentences.
Oh, they're so good.
The learner has to repeat out loud, "Small steps lead to big achievements," and "I want to keep improving my English every day," and finally, "I believe good things are coming." They're literally programming optimism directly into the learner's mouth.
It is an incredibly clever piece of psychological hacking. We discussed earlier how language is deeply physical, creating muscle memory in the jaw and vocal cords. But there is an equally powerful psychological impact to spoken self-talk.
Oh, interesting.
The neuroscience of speaking positive phrases out loud reveals that hearing your own voice articulate a belief, even if you were just repeating it as a mechanical exercise, creates genuine emotional resonance in the brain.
It's essentially linguistic inception. The learner thinks they are just practicing the pronunciation of their vowels, but the curriculum is secretly planting a positive mindset to keep them motivated.
Consider the phrase, small steps lead to big achievements. It serves double duty. On a practical level, it is a highly useful, natural-sounding English idiom for a business meeting or a personal conversation. But on a psychological level, it acts as an immediate reward system for the learner who just spent the last 20 minutes physically struggling through 99 rigorous shadowing exercises. It validates the immense effort they just exerted.
That is so smart. And the program hosts really drive this transition from practice to reality home at the very end of the transcript. They issue a direct challenge to their listeners. They say, you have built the muscle memory, now take these freshly minted sentences out into the real world.
It's time for the test.
Exactly. They challenge the learner to use at least 3 of today's sentences in an actual unscripted conversation this week. They suggest trying out, what are your goals for this year? Or could you describe your symptoms?
Though we should probably hope they only deploy that second one if they are actually a medical professional or perhaps speaking to a very sick friend.
Fair point. Please do not ask your barista to describe their symptoms while you wait for your latte. But the core challenge stands. It is about bridging the gap between the safety of the practice gym and the unpredictability of the real world.
Taking that painstakingly earned muscle memory and applying it to live human interaction. It is one thing to perfectly repeat a sentence about a security deposit in a quiet room with your headphones on. It requires an entirely different cognitive leap to recall that sentence in real time, recognize the appropriate social context, and deliver it with the correct intonation to a landlord who is standing right in front of you.
It is putting the survival kit to the ultimate test. Which brings us full circle in this entire document. We have explored the intense physical mechanics of shadowing, the reality that your mouth requires a literal workout to overcome entrenched neural pathways. And we've seen how this seemingly simple list of 99 sentences acts as a profound, hyper-focused mirror to modern life.
We have mapped the curation of the identity, both physical and digital. We analyzed the high-stakes risk mitigation necessary for navigating leases and medical diagnoses. We explored the social glue of borrowing sugar, admiring watercolors, and navigating noisy neighbors, and finally, the psychological programming of future optimism.
It really is the anatomy of a society, broken down into subject, verb, and object. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the building blocks of communication, I want to echo the challenge from the source material and turn it over to you. Think about the sentences you use on absolute autopilot every single day.
Yeah, that's a great exercise.
Try communicating with deliberate, conscious intention this week. Notice the exact phrases you instinctively reach for when you are trying to forge a connection, when you are trying to defend your boundaries, or when you are just trying to survive a remote business meeting.
When you begin to view your own daily interactions as rehearsed choreography, it fundamentally changes how you understand your place within your community.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it leaves me with one final lingering thought for you to mull over as you go about your day. If you were hired to design day 11 of this curriculum, but you had to base it strictly on the bizarre, highly specific reality of your own daily life, what strange, hyper-personal phrases would make your list of essential sentences? What bizarre modern realities go into your personal survival kit? Think about it.